Hi everyone, Ravi this side. Welcome to Engineering Adda. So in this video we are going to discuss about two annotations and we are going to compare both of them and try to find out what is the actual difference between both of them and what are the scenario where they are used. Okay, so we are going to implement them as well and try to see the real difference between both of the annotations. So these two annotation we are going to discuss here is at the rate path variable and at the rate request parameter, or you can say at the rate request param. Okay, so these two annotation we are going to implement and try to see the difference between both of them and the real scenario where they are used. Okay, so for that let me try to go to the IntelliJ, and here you can see I already have created one application, and this is the Spring Boot application, and we have implemented the CRUD operations here. So we have APIs for the CRUD operations like find all API, which is finding all the products from the DB, and we have the insert one, we have the find by id, we have update by id, and the delete. Okay, so first of all let me try to give you the overview of the application. Okay, so here you can see this is the entity we have created, which is product, and we have the four attributes which are id, name, price, and the quantity, and we have the repository which is extending the jpa repository. And coming to the implementation, we have the product service interface and we have the product service impulse. So in product service interface we have created these four methods which is carrying out the CRUD operations here. Okay, so you can see we have the insert, we have get by id, we have update and delete, and we have the find all. Okay, if you'll go to the product service implementation, you can see the implementation of all those methods which are there in the product service. Okay, and finally we have created this API so that we can call the implemented method here. Okay, so this is about that, and I have already added the Swagger extensions, you can say, or the Swagger dependency in our application to list out or to document all these APIs that we have created in the Swagger, so that we can see those things in the Swagger and try to implement or try to hit these endpoints from the Swagger itself. So for the sake of convenience, I have implemented the Swagger in it as well. Okay, if you don't know how to integrate Swagger in a Spring Boot application, then there is a video on my channel, you can go and watch it out. So these are the things, and coming to the application properties file, here you can see these are the configuration related to the database. You can see we have provided the URL, username, and the password, and these are some additional Hibernate configuration, and this is the port number on which our application will be up. So let me try to run our application and try to see the Swagger endpoints and try to hit couple of APIs from the Swagger endpoints. Okay, so our application is up on the port number 9000. Let me go to the browser and try to open the Swagger endpoints here. So it is localhost 9000 and Swagger UI index.html. Okay, so you can see this is the Swagger documentation of our APIs. Okay, so you can see we have the put, post, get, which is find all, and which we have the get by id as well, and we have the delete API. So all these APIs are coming here, and if you go to the find all API, you can see, go to the try it out and you can execute it. So you can see we have, as of now, we have 5 products in our DB. Okay, now let's say you want to find out the particular product. Okay, so you can pass some additional parameters here, and based upon the criteria or the parameter, this will try to find out the product. Okay, so let's say I just want to fetch out top 2 products, and those argument, the length, I will be passing through the URL. Okay, so with the help of this request parameter and with the help of at the rate path variable, we can do that thing. Okay, so let's say we have this find all API, and additionally we want to append the parameters here. Okay, and that parameter is the length parameter. Okay, so we are just going to provide the length. Let's say the length is 2, then it will find out the top 2 products from the DB and show us. So that thing we are going to do here, and this additional parameter we can pass through either with the help of at the rate path variable or at the rate request param. Both of them can be used, but what is the basic difference between both of them? So when we are going to use the at the rate path variable, then it is mandatory to provide the parameters in the URL, in the base URL. But when we are going to use at the rate request param, then it is not mandatory all the time to pass the parameters in the base URL. It can be optional or mandatory itself. Okay, so both option is available when we are using the at the rate request param, and when we are using at the rate path variable, then we need to mandatory provide that in the base URL. So this is the basic difference, and I will try to create one API, and there I will try to show you the uses of both of the request and the path variable as well. So let me try to go to the IntelliJ and try to show you those things. So if you'll go to the product controller, and let's say we have this find all API. So let me try to copy this, and let me try to paste it here. So let me try to again tell you what we are going to do. So we are going to pass the additional argument here, and that argument will be passing through the URL. So let me try to open the Postman and try to show you those things as well. So once it is more clear, then it will not take much time to implement it. So I just want to make you clarity what we are going to do and how this path variable and request param are helping us. Okay. So let's say we have this API. Okay. Now let me try to hit this. So you can see we are able to see all the 5 products. Now what I want to append a additional parameter here. Okay. So let's say I just want to append length, and let's say it's equal to 1. Okay. Okay. So it will try to fetch out the top 1 product. If the length is 2, it will try to fetch out the top 2 products. So here when we are using at the rate path variable, then we can directly pass the length and try to find out the top 2 products. Okay. But when we are using this at the rate request parameter, then we need to provide this as a additional parameters that we can pass here. Let's say the length is the parameter and its value is 2. So those things we need to pass here. So that is what we are going to do. And the basic difference between the at the rate path variable and the at the rate request parameter is that at the rate path variable is used, then it is mandatory to provide the additional parameters in the base URL. And when at the rate request parameter is used, there is a 2 option that are available. Either you can use it as an optional or as a mandatory. Okay. So let me try to go to the IntelliJ and try implementing it. So first of all, I will try to implement this API with at the rate path variable, and I will also try to create another API which will be implementing the request param. Okay. So let's say find all path variable, and here we are passing the length. Okay. And let's say let me try to go to the service, and here let me try to create one method which is list of products find all top products. Okay. And let me try to go to the implementation of it, copy this, and let me try to implement the newly created method. Okay. So what it is doing, it is trying to based upon the length, it will try to find out the top products. Okay. So let me try to create a list of products. Okay. So let's say it is list of top products, something like that. Okay. Or list of products, and this is coming from the product repo dot find all. So we are first of all we are finding all the products, and based upon the length we are just going to find the top those products which are equal to the length. Okay. So let's say it is list of products, and it is top products, and let's say we are going to find it from the products dot sublist, and here we need to pass uh, the sublist what you want to find. So we are going to find from 0 to length. Okay. So let's say 0 comma and math dot min of the length and the total size of the products. Okay, so length dot product size. So I will try to explain you what we are going to do. So here you can see, first of all, we are finding all the products, and then based upon this length, we are finding out the sub list of the products. So from 0 to length, whatever is minimum, either length can be, let's say length is 2 and product size is 5, then minimum of both of them. So minimum is 2, then it will try to find out 0 to 2. 2 is excluded, that means 0 and 1. So these top two products will be find out from the product list, and then it will be stored in the top products list, and then simply we can return that. So that is what we are going to do. Let's say the size is 1 and you want to list out the top two products. Then in that case, the minimum should be 1. Then we are going to find out only one products. Okay, so that is why we are using math.min here. Okay, now let me try to return this top products here. So we are good. Now let me try to go to this and go to the product service, and here we need to pass the argument. So let's say it is integer, sorry, let's say it is integer length, and let me try to go to its implementation, find all products, and let's say it is also integer and length. Okay, why we are giving this, copy this and go to this product service. Yeah, it is okay, go there, find all products, no method is there, and we are turning it as well. Now let me try to go to the controller and try to call this here. Okay, so let's say find all products, and we are passing the length as a uh, in the form of URL itself, in the form of base URL itself, right? So we are going to use the path variable here. Okay, so let's say int, or integer, you can say integer length. So let me try to cut it from here. It would be passed in the above method, which is get all products. Let me try to rename it, get all products. And here we are passing this at the path variable, and we are passing the length here, and that length would be passed to the find all products, which is coming from the product service. Okay, so I will try to give you the whole flow as well. So let me try to go here, and we are inside this list of products. Now we are, let me try to make it public. Okay, so we are good now. So from controller, we are going to the product service interface, and then we are going to the implementation of it. In the implementation, you can see, first of all, we are finding out all the products, and then we are listing out the top products, okay, based upon the length, and then simply returning it. So this is what we are going to do. Now here you can see we are passing the length in the form of URL itself, so it become mandatory, right? And that is why we are using at the path variable here. Okay, so path variable is used only when you are passing the parameters in the base URL, and that is mandatory. Okay, so now let me try to run it and then try to show you. So yeah, it will be up in few seconds. Let me try to cut it from here, and you can see this application is up. Now let me try to go to the Swagger and refresh it. So just minimize it. You can see this find all path variable, and we are passing the length. So now you can see the length is required one. It is not the optional, it is mandatory one, right? Now let me try it, and you can see we are passing the length as 2. So it will try to find out top two products. Now execute it, and here you can see these top two products are coming. But you can see in the URL it is necessary to pass this argument, right? It is not optional. So whenever you are using at the path variable, it is become mandatory to pass the argument in the URL. Otherwise this URL won't work. So this is about the path variable. Now coming to the request param, you can provide argument as a additional parameters, optional parameters, or mandatory itself. Okay, so both of the options are available when you are using the at the rate request param. Okay, so let me try to show you how you can do use the request param. Okay, so let me try to copy this URL and paste down, and let's say this is find all request param, and let me try to remove the path length from here. Okay, and let's say let me try to use request param and find all products request param, and we are passing this length with the help of at the rate request param annotation, not with the help of at the rate path variable. Okay, now we are passing it to the find all products method, which is inside the product service. So we are using the same method, okay, but we are creating different API. So go to the product controller and let me try to run it and then try to show you. So as of now, this will come as a mandatory one. Okay, so let me try to see. Yes, our application is up. Now let me go to the browser and refresh this Swagger. Now you can see we have additional API, which is find all request param. And here you can see we have the length as a mandatory fields. Okay, so let me try it out, and let me try to provide the length as 2 and then send it. So here you can see we have this mapping, which is find all request param, and then we are providing the additional argument, which is length, and this time this length is mandatory. You can see here it is required, else this API won't work. Okay, so we are passing this argument, okay, and this time it is mandatory one, and you can see this is giving the result. But you can also make this as a optional. Okay, so how you can do that, I'm just going to show you. And this thing you can also hit it from the postman. So let me try to go to the postman, and here you can see what is the mapping. First of all, let me try to go to the IntelliJ and see. So the mapping for this API is find all request param. So go to the postman and API products find all request param, and then here you can pass in the query parameter, you can pass your length. Okay, so let's say it's length, and then let's say length is 3, and then send it. So you can see top 3 products are coming here, and in this form you have to provide the additional parameters. Okay, so you need to provide the name of this parameter and then its value. So first of all, this is the base URL, and then you need to pass the question mark, and then you need to provide the key and value of the additional parameter. You can see, right? So this is how you can use at the rate query parameter, and sorry, this is how you can use at the rate request parameter. And this time we are using request parameter as a required one, as a mandatory one, but how you can use it as a optional. Okay, so that I'm going to show you. So let me try to go to the IntelliJ, and here you can see in the request parameter, let's say this is length, and let's say it is required equal to false. Okay, so this time this required becoming false. Okay, now let me try to run this application and try to show it in the Swagger. So this time we are making it as a optional. Okay, so either you can pass or not pass, then it will work. So let me try to come here and let me try to refresh it. Here you can see this required is gone. Now it is coming as a optional. And if you'll go to try it out, and if you'll execute it, here you can see we are getting the internal server error. Okay, now let me try to go to the IntelliJ and try to show you what error we are getting. So let me try to maximize it. Here you can see this is coming, length is null, that is why it is not able to fetch out any products. But you can see we are able to hit this API without passing this length. That means length is mandatory one. Length is not the mandatory fields this time. It is acting like a optional one. Okay. So how we can resolve this error? Let me try to do that. So if we'll go to the IntelliJ, and here you can see Let me try to put a if condition and then see. So let's say if length equal to null, then that time I'm just going to set length is equal to 2. Okay, and then it will set length is equal to 2, and when we are not passing anything, then top two products will be listed out. So let me try to run this and try to hit it from the Swagger and try to show you. So it is becoming optional when you are using this required equal to false, and we are handling this null condition by setting the length is equal to 2. Okay, so without passing any length as a request parameters in the form of URL, with the URL you are going to hit this URL. Okay, so let me try to go to the Swagger and refresh it. So you can see here we are not passing anything in the length, and we are going to try it out and execute it. So you can see we are able to fetch these two products, top two products, and we are not getting the error this time. So we are able to hit this URL without passing the additional parameters. That means this time length is coming as a optional. Okay, so this is the condition, and if you are going to provide the length as 3, then it will try to fetch out the top 3 products. You can see, right? So this is the basic difference between at the rate path variable and at the rate request parameter in the Spring Boot REST APIs. So this is about the video, guys. If you like the video, please hit the like button and please subscribe the channel for more such content. Thanks.